Here are some of the predictions for Kentucky. You see the FPI has them at 8.2 and 3.9, about 8-4. Athlon 8-4. The over/under 8.5. So that would tell you either 8-4 or 9-3. With the schedule that they have, I think 9-3 would be a really good year for them. They've got some, really, I think 4 games that are going to be really tough. Maybe five games that are going to be really tough. And so 8-4 seems to be kind of the number here for this Kentucky team based off of the consensus. And it's a team that, you know, they have really Mark Stoops has turned this program around. I mean, they're one of the more consistent programs really in all of college football. They're right there every year, winning 7, 8, 9 games. They reload on the offensive line. They reload on defense. Not at the level of an Alabama or a Georgia, but for that next tier of teams, they do a really good job. And it's going to be the same story this year, I think. They do have to replace some key players, both on the offensive line and on defense, but we've seen them be able to just kind of reload there, develop their young players, add from the transfer portal. Chris Rodriguez, his status is going to be big for them. Will Levis, a lot of people hyping him up as potentially like a top 10 draft pick. I don't know if I would agree with that, but he's probably the best quarterback Kentucky's had in a while. And so you look at the passing game and how it has developed. Some help at receiver would obviously help them out. But they've got the pieces to be really right there where they've been the last few years. I don't know if they're ready to break through and challenge Georgia, but a good chance to be the second best team in the SEC East this year. You look at the schedule, they'll open things up with Miami of Ohio, a game that shouldn't really challenge them. Nice game to start off the season. Kind of get the kinks worked out, get ready for a big game the next week. So yes, I'm going to say they beat Miami of Ohio fairly easily, and they will start off 1-0. Next game is on the road at Florida. You hear all kinds of different things about Florida. Some people think they're going to be terrible, that it's just going to be a disaster for Florida this year. Others think that this is a team that can maybe challenge Georgia in the SEC East. I'm kind of in the middle. I think Florida has a good roster. I think they may surprise some people if you think they're going to drop off and have a terrible year. Their starting group really on both sides of the ball is pretty talented. I don't know if they have the depth of a team like Georgia, you know, maybe the top teams in the SEC, but that starting group, I think, it can play with pretty much anyone. You look at this game, they're playing at home. That's enough for me. I'm going to go with Florida. I know Kentucky's done really well against Florida as of late, but this year I think Florida gets the win. Some people also want to point to the first-year head coach thing, but I've looked back the last few years, and these first-year head coaches have actually done pretty well early in the season. I think it's just because of you don't know for sure what to expect with this coach with these players, and because of that, I think Florida maybe has a bit of an advantage playing at home. I got to go with the Gators. I think they will take care of business against Youngstown State in Northern Illinois. Next game is against Ole Miss. This is a tough one to call here. I think this is going to be a game where Kentucky's going to want to run the football, slow it down, keep that high-powered offense of Ole Miss on the sidelines. Ole Miss, obviously, they're going to be going fast. They're going to try to score a lot of points. Really two different styles going at it here. It's a tough one. It is a very tough one to pick. A lot of times you see that team that's able to run the football and slow the game down. You see them kind of take that other team out of their comfort zone, and it is an advantage. But this one's just it's a coin flip for me. So when I don't know which one to pick, I'm pretty much always just going to go with home field advantage. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss gets the win, so Kentucky will then drop to 2-3. Next up, it's South Carolina, big game in the SEC East. I think South Carolina is going to be improved this year. This is another one of those games that I think is a coin flip. Could really go either way. I think home field advantage could be the difference. I'm going to go with Kentucky in this one, but I think it'll be a great game, probably down to the wire, and that'll get Kentucky up to 4-2. Next game is against Mississippi State at home. Another game. I mean, you look through the schedule here. How many toss-up games does Kentucky have? Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Mississippi State. Maybe throw Tennessee into that. Maybe Missouri even. So, I mean, Louisville at the end of the year. There are just so many games that are going to be tough to predict. And again, that's why when I do these predictions, I say don't get hung up on each individual game. It's really just about that overall record at the end of the season because, you know, I'm not going to get it perfect, but maybe they win a game that I have them losing and then they lose a game I have them winning. And the goal really is just to get that record correct. But same story here with Mississippi State. I'm going to go with the home field advantage. It's going to be a fun one, similar to that Ole Miss game. Kentucky probably going to try to slow it down. I think it'll work. I think they get the win here at home. That's the difference in this game and the game against Ole Miss. Then they'll play Tennessee on the road after a bye week. Same story, a high-powered offense, a team that's going to want to go really fast, and it's going to be just like the Ole Miss game for me. It's a toss-up, really, but home field advantage will be the difference. I'm going to pick Tennessee, so that drops on to 5-3. Missouri up next. On the road, Missouri team that I'm not all that high on. A lot of unknowns with them. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? You know, just don't know really what to expect from this Missouri team. They could surprise, but I don't see it happening. I think Kentucky's the better team. A tough one because it's on the road, but Kentucky the better team. They get the win and improve to 6-3. Vanderbilt up next. Not really much to even talk about here. I think Kentucky will roll. I just don't think Vanderbilt's going to be very good this year once again, so I've got the Wildcats at 7-3. Big game against Georgia there on November 19th. Is Kentucky finally ready to really compete in this game? With Georgia having all those losses, all those great players that went on to the NFL, maybe Kentucky keeps this game close for a little bit, but I still think that Georgia is just a step above Kentucky. I don't see this game being super close. Georgia just, I mean, the talent level of Georgia and Alabama really, I think, is above everyone else. Texas A&M trying to get into that conversation. You know, LSU's a talented team. There are talented teams, but Alabama and Georgia are in a class by themselves. And I don't think Kentucky's going to compete all that much in this one. Maybe close at halftime, but Georgia will pull away. They'll wear them down, and that drops Kentucky to 7-4. Final game of the season is against Louisville. I think Louisville's going to be pretty good this year, actually. I think they're going to be a sleeper team in the ACC. Maybe not a team that's going to beat Clemson and win the division, but I think they'll be better than a lot of people expect. But Kentucky they own this rivalry right now. They're playing at home. Really no reason to pick against Kentucky, so I'm going to say they win this game, and I've got them finishing off the season at 8-4. 8-4 my prediction for Kentucky in 2022.